What are the tips for? Does your boss just not pay you?
Yes. Do you not realize or understand this? Wait staff are paid $2.30. Do you not know how to simply Google stuff and how things work? Has tipping gotten out of control? Why is tipping like this? I want to see what is going on in the world today. We're going to watch YouTube shorts and see and react and talk about it. If you got thoughts, go ahead and share them down in the comments below.
Tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. No matter where you are or what you order, you are expected to tip at least 18 if not 20%, or else you are considered a rude customer.
Why is tipping even like this in the United States? It's from a number of factors, but the main root causes is because of slavery and because of the Great Depression and how they affected laws. So how it's tied in with slavery is when Black people were freed in the United States from the Emancipation Proclamation. Many Black people were entering the workforce, and a lot of the jobs that they were doing was restaurant work, being waiters or being cooks. The restaurant owners didn't want to pay them, so they had to rely on the generosity of people coming to the restaurants and giving them tips. The other huge factor was the Great Depression. A lot of restaurants couldn't afford to pay their wait staff, so they stopped paying them. And again, they relied on the generosity of people giving them tips.
Normal to tip a waiter when you're having a sit-down dinner. In the past couple of years, it's gotten way past that. Whether you're getting a coffee or food to go, you are expected to tip them for simply bagging up the order.
I really dislike this narrative because it's so unempathetic. You have to tip them for simply bagging up the order. No, that's not the only thing that people do at restaurants, okay? They're working back there, they're preparing orders, they're making sure stuff is stocked up, they're talking to customers, they're taking orders on the registers, they're cleaning, they're closing the restaurant, they're opening the restaurant. Just because you see them giving you the bag, you think that's the only thing that they do is obnoxious, right? It's so unempathetic. Think about the wait staff and everything that they do. It's messed up that we have this tipping culture, yes, but they rely on those tips because the federal government hasn't raised the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage. This is the truth of what's happening today. No matter what you think about it, your opinions about it, your politics about it, this is the reality, right? They rely on the tips to help them to achieve a living wage because the minimum wage is not enough.
2 days ago, I went to Dave's Hot Chicken to get some mac and cheese through the drive-thru, and they asked me how much I wanted to tip at the drive-thru window. I felt really awkward and put on the spot, so I gave them $1, even though my total was less than $5.
Just because you see them passing you the bag or preparing the order, that's not the only thing that they do, okay? So this Danny Reyes guy is being incredibly judgmental, and it's disgusting.
In literally every other country on the planet, tipping is not only not expected, but it's considered rude. If you order pizza delivery in Japan or in Italy and you try to tip the driver, they will immediately get offended and insist that you take your money back.
See, that's true. Everywhere in the world, tipping is not required, and a lot of people do find it rude. It's because those countries have set laws where they have to pay the staff a living wage or a respectable wage. They don't put the burden on the customer to give them tips for them to achieve the living wage.
There are countless videos of DoorDashers and other restaurant workers literally cussing out and berating customers for leaving them anything under a 25% tip.
Yeah, that is an awful thing. And people who are door dashing shouldn't do that. But you have to have some empathy because you have to understand that's how they make money on those apps. When you order on DoorDash, the prices of the foods are way higher than if you actually go to the restaurant, so that the restaurant can make money because DoorDash is feeding them up the butt. And a lot of that money isn't going to the DoorDash person. The DoorDash person, they have to go to the restaurant, they have to drive, they have to use their vehicle, they have to get it to you. It costs a lot of money. It does cost a lot of money. And those prices are not reflected in the service, so they rely on tips. Unfortunately, that's how it is today. You have to realize the truth of the situation.
My own position on tipping has radically changed. I mean, I used to be a big tipper, and now I find myself way on the other end of it. Where I don't want to tip anyone anymore. And I used to be 20% at a minimum. That's not how I look at it anymore. And 20%, it's like, that's almost a maximum. Now your baseline is 0 and you got to earn the tip. And I talk to a lot of people that feel the same way about it. And it's not our fault. You pressed it way too much. In the customer service industry, everyone wants a tip now, everywhere you go.
Spare change. Spare change, man.
This guy is so unempathetic and awful. May I remind you that restaurants are legally allowed to pay waitstaff $2.30, okay? The federal minimum wage is $7 something, But restaurant owners are legally allowed to pay waitstaff $2.30 because the expectation is they're going to make up the money in tips. You know, it's so sick. It's literally in the law books. It's illegal in the United States to do that. So for you to come in and say, oh, you started at 0%, it's sickening. It's so disgusting to even have that stance. Oh, I don't want to tip or whatever. It's so dumb and unempathetic. And he's like trying to put the blame on the waitstaff. Oh, you pushed it too far, putting these tip screens too high, too high. Yes, the tip screens are getting too high, but the people who are doing that, it's not the waiters and waitresses and the waitstaff, it's the owners. Put the blame on the restaurant owners, put the blame on the big corporations. Companies want to pay employees as little as possible, right? That's business 101 for you to achieve a higher profit. They don't want to pay them higher wages. And then they say, oh, it's going to increase food costs. How does the entire rest of the world do it? What is that excuse, right? Okay, the prices of the restaurant things are going to go up. Let them go up. If that means that you're going to give someone a fair wage and we don't have to rely on tip, put the burden on the customer and make people feel bad for not tipping. Think about this. Think about it. Think about it. Think about what the real solutions are. And the answers are right there. The entire world has figured it out. The United States has it this way for a reason, right? There is an agenda.
And then if you don't tip, they give you a dirty look. I literally go to this burrito place almost every...
See, I hate this whole narrative. They're just making this stuff up. Oh, if you don't tip, then they give you a dirty look or they stop being nice to you. Who said, like, is that even true? Again, this is part of the narrative of demonizing the waitstaff and having no empathy instead of actually trying to realize what the solutions are.
The burritos are already made. They turn around, grab the burrito and hand it to me. And then they give me a dirty look when I don't tip 20%.
Oh, the burritos are already made. Who's making the burritos? Maybe the waitstaff are helping to make the burritos. You don't even know. They think that the only thing they do is sit behind the counter or hand you the food. This is such a disgusting narrative.
I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? What are the tips for? Does your boss just not pay you?
Yes, the boss doesn't pay you. This is how it works in the United States. Do you not realize or understand this? Waitstaff are paid $2.30. Federal minimum wage is $7.50. Yes, they're not getting paid enough money to live and survive. Yes, buddy. Do you not know how to simply Google stuff and how things work?
I need to pay your salary in addition to paying for the burrito.
Buddy, that's how it works. All right. A business hires employees and sells products or services. Customers pay the company, and then the owner of the business pays the employees. So yes, you are paying for them. I hate this whole logic. Oh, I don't want to pay for them. That's how it works. That's how it works. You can do little semantics. You can have your own little stories. You can think about it in different ways. But yeah, that is how it works. They have to directly tip the person that they're talking to. This is what eats them up. This is what keeps them up at night. They don't even understand basic business, okay? That's how it works. That's how, I mean, sometimes I have no words for these videos. Somebody take this person's mic away, okay? Before I make a video, okay, I do basic research. I try to understand something so I don't make myself look like a complete buffoon. I still do that, right? I still make myself look like a complete buffoon, but this is just complete dumbassery. I'm sorry to say it, but you're just being dumb, trying to demonize the wait staff, and you gotta, man, empathy, love.
The US has taken tipping to another level. If the service was average, they would expect you to pay 15%. For good service, please pay 20%. And if you liked everything, 25%. If you pay zero, you will definitely get a bad look when you exit a restaurant. Now here's the total for a dinner at a local San Francisco restaurant. We paid $223 for 3 people, and we had to pay 24% tips, $53. Oh, and there's another $23 tax. Now, where does this 24% go? The receipt says there's extra salary and medical insurance for the waiters.
That's wonderful. That is a good thing. Now, it does feel scummy when you get a bill and then you see there's an extra charge on it, right? The reason why restaurants do that is because they don't want to put it onto the price of the food items. If you see the price of the food items get increased so much, if you look at multiple restaurants, right, and you're trying to decide between restaurants, and then you see the menu prices, one place is going to have an entree meal for $20, and then another place the entree meal is going to be $35. You don't want to go, right? So what they do is, instead of inflating the price of the food items, they put it on your bill as an extra surcharge. Yes, it feels scummy. Yes, it's awful. Yes, I hate that. I hate hidden fees myself, but They have to do that in order to stay competitive. People don't want to go to that restaurant. People are going to see the food items. It's 25%, 30% higher than everybody else. You won't want to go. So this is the tactic that restaurants are resorting to do in order to deal with this issue.
Clients to pay extra so that the business can pay its workers a decent amount. On the other hand, I understand that this is the way the industry works in the US, and also understand how hard it is to run a restaurant in the Bay Area.
I like at the end that she is being empathetic. She understands why it's like this. She understands these fees, and that's what you have to understand too. Have empathy for the people working at these restaurants, the waitstaff. Have empathy and understanding. It's not just the money. When you are a person working at a restaurant, you have to deal with all sorts of people, okay? And I don't want to generalize too much. Maybe 90% of the customers are going to be fine, but then you got to deal with some Karens. You got to deal with difficult orders. You got to deal with people finding a single hair in the food and then asking for a refund or posting bad stuff on social media. One bad review for a restaurant could destroy a restaurant, right? A restaurant business is incredibly hard to run.
What do you get per hour on tips?
Even if people are tipping the 20% that is standard for great service, most servers are tipping out 3 to 5% of that to bussers, hosts, and bartenders.
Thank you. Thank you. See, I love this clip. It's being empathetic and showing the side of the wait staff. The person that you're tipping is not always getting that full tip. It may not even go to that specific person. It could be going to the bussers, the bartenders, even back to the restaurant. Sometimes restaurants take a percentage.
What if I leave you nothing?
Then we have to pay that tip out whether you give us money or not. So
So-
like say your bill is $100 and you don't tip me at all, I'm paying $5 to wait on you.
What? That seems like that should be illegal. Why should that come out of her pocket to pay the bussers, the bartender? That upsets me. That should be on the owner or just on people like, hey, if we don't get a tip, none of us give a tip. That should not be coming out of her pocket.
Completely agree with Graham Stephan here. This is how it should not be. But because the way the system has been developed in the United States to put the burden on the person feeling bad and having to pay the waitstaff instead of the actual business owner so the business owner can make more profits. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing because restaurants, it's tough to make money in a restaurant business, okay? And this is the reality of the situation. This is what I'm saying. Have empathy and understanding and love for everyone that you see and think about every single part of this process rather than just saying, oh, like that first guy, oh, they're handing me the bag, I gotta tip them. No, that's not how it works, buddy.
Don't flip that thing in my face. You get no tip.
A man on Reddit is going viral. He went to get a walk-in haircut, okay? $15. When he went to pay, the tablet displayed the tipping options. The choices included 50, 70, and 90% tipping options.
I would never go back to this person. $15 for a haircut, though. I'll take it.
That's what I'm saying.
That
That's
is great.
First of all, this guy is already coming off as an a-hole. Yes, it's insane if you see 50, 70, 90% tip, okay? It's crazy. But this is how they're doing it to get business. They're saying, oh, $15 haircut, and then 50%, 70% tip. It turns into a $30 haircut, okay? These are the tactics that businesses are using to get you into the doors. It's the same thing with restaurants. They keep the menu prices lower, but then there's a surcharge or there's a tip that you have to put in there. And businesses have to do this in order to stay competitive.
The thing.
But you would
leave
tip.
it up to me.
Yes.
That if you're going to charge me $15, I'll give you 50%. I'll give you 30%.
Yeah, right. This guy already started. Oh, if he saw that tablet there, he was not going to tip. He's got 50%. He's going to throw it back in their face, all right? Just from the beginning. And now he's trying to bicycle backwards. Oh, if it was 15, I would give you 50%.
Because I'm still saving money. You got it. If you give me only that option, now it's spite time. Now it's spite time. You might get the last $15 out of my pocket.
Yeah, no. So see, this person, like, they're an awful human being. Oh, because you see the tablet, then I'm not gonna give it to you. What an awful perspective.
Be careful of this bullshit restaurants are trying to play now. They are now covering up their no tip option on their credit card readers, ultimately forcing you to leave them a tip. And listen, man, I respect everyone working in the service industry, but come on. Tipping culture has gotten so insanely out of control. The number one rule that I have and that everybody else should have too is that if I'm standing, I am not tipping.
Okay, yes, the no tip being covered up is messed up. Oh, if I'm standing, I'm not gonna tip. Again, another person not realizing that the people working behind the counter are doing 1,000 different things. They're not just taking your order at a register, all right?
I'm paying you for a product. And within that product, your boss pays you to do your job. which is make that product.
That's how it should be, but that's not how it is in the United States, okay? So you have to understand the reality of your situation and how you're living. You can't just say, oh, in my brain, I want it to be like this, so then therefore I'm not gonna tip. No, that's not how things work.
That is your job. You are getting paid to do that. Now, on the other hand, if you are doing something for me, if you are providing service for me, that is a different story.
Yeah, buddy, providing service for you. That's what they're doing. They're helping to make the sandwich. They're putting keying in the things. They're keeping stuff stocked. They are providing you a service. Hello, you don't even follow your own law.
To come over to my table and ask how I'm doing, how the food is, give me water, give me whatever, then I will tip you.
Oh, okay. So he wants to feel like a prince when he's at a restaurant. He wants to come over and maybe give him a back massage too. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, you look so beautiful today. Oh my goodness. You want someone to treat you like a princess and then you can give them a tip? What kind of shallow thinking is this?
I walk into a coffee shop and all I want is a nice coffee. I'm not tipping you. And now that I'm thinking about it, the only exception to the standing rule is if I'm in a bar. But of course, everyone knows the real reason why you tip in a bar. It's not for exceptional service. It's for service itself.
What? This guy has no logic. There's no logic to what he's saying. Everything that he said, where it's like, if I'm standing and the person's behind the counter, I'm not tipping. Oh, but the bartender, which is the exact same thing, the bartender's standing and he's standing, they're preparing a drink for you. Oh, then I'm going to tip the bartender. Because see, he understands that the bartenders require the tips in order to make a lot of money, but he can't extend his knowledge of that to the fact that wait staff are the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. He does not even follow his own logic. Hello, logic. This person is either uneducated or disingenuous. They have an agenda, all right? That's what I feel when I watch this video. All right, my blood is boiling enough. I think that's good. What do you think about tipping? What do you think about people demonizing wait staff? Go ahead and share it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share it with your friends. Tell me what you think about it. I want to hear from you. I try to reply to all the comments. Thank you so much for watching.